A good script is such a beautiful thing. The Thin Man, directed by W.S. Van Dyke, released in May of 1934 with a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. Starring William Powell and Myrna Loy, Maureen O'Sullivan, Nat Pendleton, Porter Hall, and Mina Gombel. A production budget of $226,000, a domestic take of $818,000, a foreign take of $605,000, giving a worldwide take of $1.4 million, for a total profit of $1.1 million. Impressive for the 1930s, and even more impressive for a movie that took 12 days to film. So, characters. Nick Charles, a most urbane and smooth former detective. This guy is witty, he's cool, he's clever, he's got it all together. He's a very, very smart detective, but he'd much prefer to be drinking rather than thinking. Oh, and it's not just him. Nora's not about to come in second on this. She's no slouch on the liquor either. So much fun to watch him on screen. It's mesmerizing. Just watching him roll along with no matter what's happening, just got a movement to him. It's just so good. Nora Charles, his wife, the leading lady of the film. And what a leading lady. She matches Charles wit for wit, line for line, attitude, intelligence, just style, demeanor, the whole thing. They are the perfect couple. It's incredible. They are my favorite on-screen couple. Watching these two actors work, fantastic. Then you have Dorothy, daughter of the title character, the Thin Man. She's a bit of a contradiction. She's sweet and sensible, yet worldly and a little unhinged. Has a tendency to go off the handle, get a fair bit, 1930s dramatic, which is good value. It all fits together. Not necessarily the catalyst for the movie, but she's definitely the instigator of dragging poor Nick into all this. Guild, the detective in charge, running around trying to solve a bunch of murders, trying to minimize panic in the streets. More interested in a quick result rather than digging too deep, only looks at the surface matters. Isn't exactly your deepest diving cop when it comes to crime solving. An interesting and entertaining counterpoint to Nick's much more thorough and thoughtful way of doing things. Mimi Wynant, the ex-wife of the title character. Also interesting, nuts, really quite strange. But that's okay, because so is her family. Her whole family's bonkers. Her son in particular is an unusual chap, and they really play that up quite nicely. Her character is played well, although definitely second tier. Finally, in that second tier list is Macaulay, the lawyer. An important character, but very, very background. Characters gets a 3.5 on the strength of Nick and Nora. Oh, they're good. They're really good. They bring a charm and personality to the screen that I would really struggle to see replicated these days. I'm trying to think of them. Maybe Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan in a lot of their rom-coms. Maybe Morticia and Gomez. That's another one. But as far as strength of character and personalities and just presence and the way they behave, the way they come at you on the screen, yeah, it's brilliant. 3.5. And now for the story. Well, this is a tapestry. It's got a bunch of wandering threads and the odd drop stitch, but still, at the end, quite an interesting picture. It's a classic old murder mystery with dozens of suspects, quite a few bodies getting dropped, strange and unusual characters at every turn, police sticking their nose in, neighbours sticking their nose in, everyone have an opinion, everyone's got a theory. And there's poor Nick, right in the middle of it all. To start with, Nick doesn't want to have a bar of the case. He doesn't want to know about it. He denies any involvement in it. He denies every request to be involved in it. He just doesn't want to do it. He'd prefer to lounge around in the life of luxury with his very, very, very rich wife, drink martinis and scotch and whiskies and bourbons and whatever else is available, really, and ignore the world. But, sorry, Nicky, everyone's out to get you into this one. See, it's all about the disappearance of an old friend of his, the Thin Man, as he's referred to eventually in the film, beginning with his daughter who's turned up and complains that he's missing. Nick goes, oh, that's nice, and does want to know about it. And then Nora hears about the whole case and gets very curious. She's heard that her husband is an amazing detective and wants to see it unfold. She nags him to take the case because she's bored and would think it'd be terribly good fun to watch him go and solve a murder. The Nora-Nick dynamic, it's just too good. She starts to change her mind, however, as the bodies start to hit the floor and it's getting a little more dangerous. Although she does stare down a gun in her face with wry amusement, so she's tough. All these threads start to weave together because they all start scattered. A guy in a stairwell, a guy on the phone, a person in an elevator, a person over here, a person over there, a circumstance here, a conversation there. And it's all very scattered about, and it just comes together and forms a picture. And the picture looks like a frazzled ex-detective desperate for a drink. It's got your misdirections, it's got your assumptions, it's got the police getting the wrong end of the stick. It's got a nice little bit of police procedure in there. Not a lot, but enough to make it look like it's for real. Discussions with the forensics guys, interviews with different suspects, all that sort of stuff. It's good. All coming to a head at a dinner party that Nick and Nora throw, inviting all the suspects together, and then through interrogation and clever conversation, revealing who the killer is at the very end. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, it should. This is one of the earliest examples of the scene coming together and has been reused and copied ever since. At the end of it all, it's a classic 1930s story. It's well paced, it's well told. A little jumpy, a little skippy here and there. But, you know, whatever. No worse than quite a few other movies I've had to watch recently. At the end of the day, story gets a 3.25. It keeps you interested, it keeps you invested, but you gotta pay attention, because it moves at a fair rate, and they don't labor the point on clues. They don't lean into that. It's there and it's gone. If you missed it, you're just gonna have to figure it out with everybody else. Look and feel. Well, to begin with, it's black and white. And that is a very good thing, because the moment you see it's in black and white, and the old school, and I mean ye old with two E's at the end, school, music starts playing, you know what you're in for. That sets your mind into what you need. You're not expecting high-end action, you're not expecting high-end effects, you're not expecting gorgeous or sweeping cinematography. You're in for an old school treat. And once your headspace is in that area, beautiful. And make no mistake, Nick and Nora are representing the wealthy less than 1% of the 1930s. They are the leisure class, the champagne class. Nora is always dressed beautifully. Most of the women are dressed quite well, but Nora just has this presence. Very Helen Mirren, actually, in that respect. Just, here she is. And she looks great. Nick looks like a very rich man who has no interest in doing anything else than being rich and lazy, which I love. His wardrobe seems to consist of very nice suits or dressing gowns. It's very much a collection of studio set pieces though. I mean, you're not surprised with this. Again, the black and white and the music set the scene for you. So it's a set piece with one or maybe two cameras on static, just panning across a little bit, and the actors walking around doing their thing in front of these cameras. You don't get the dynamic shots. And when you do, they're kind of jarring. You're not expecting them. I mean, you see a door wobble once or twice. Some of the walls move a little bit. The set, it's a set. I don't know how well constructed it was, but it worked. And you got your period style lighting and all the props and all the sound and all the gear that goes with it. There's a lot of stuff here. They didn't skimp out on the details, to be honest, especially in the bars or the restaurants or anything like that. They've really gone all out. Then there'll be an apartment that may have been used in an I Love Lucy episode, you know? They keep jumping from location to set piece, location to set piece. It does get a little disjointed at times every now and then as they cut from one scene to the next scene, an unexpected close-up or someone else's point of view. And you do have to deal with the occasionally over-the-top reactions or dramatic music with a as something's happening. You know, it's kind of silly like that. But again, you're expecting it. Another example of the time is when they're filming at what is supposed to be night, and it's just pitch black. You've got Nick walking around some warehouse, or actually the old factory. You only know it's him or where he is because of the flashlight, or occasionally the dog running along next to him, but you really can't see anything, and that's what it's meant to be. Other than the glimpses of reflections, a bit of flashlight, maybe some moonlight, you're just seeing what you're given, and it's not much. It's very atmospheric. The other thing is the lack of music or background sound. Modern movies these days have always got a soundtrack or something going on. This one, dead quiet at times. Nervously dead quiet. There's one scene where there's no sound and Nick's creeping around and there's someone else in the room with him. And it's just dead quiet. And all we can hear is our clock in the lounge room ticking. And my wife's just whispering that she doesn't like this. And hey, it's old school. It's kind of campy. but it works. So look and feel, it gets a 3. It's good. I mean, yeah, you can see where it's a set, and yeah, it does feel a little rushed, a little overcooked at times, but hey, this movie was filmed in 12 days. So, alright, we can give it a pass on that. Script and dialogue. This is the bit I've been wanting to talk about. Okay, we'll get the bad stuff out of the way first. It is occasionally super camp, a little stilted, a little haltingly delivered by some actors that weren't quite up to the standard. The difference between Powell and Loy and everyone else is very apparent, okay? Very apparent. Very hard to hold up to those two when they're rattling their lines off. You've also got some sight gags and situational humor that falls flat now. You don't care, you don't get it really. At the time, that would have been very impressive and very, very funny. Now, not so much. They're almost like in-jokes for the 1930s, to be honest. But enough of that. Let's talk about Nick and Nora. They are gold. Rapid fire, fast talking dialogue. Witty, quick, on the ball. Here's a line, and it's out. Next line, and it's out. Zing, 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 zing. Plenty of offhand comments, sideways remarks, clever little innuendo, clever little innuendos sprinkled throughout all of the dialogue. I watch a movie like this, and then I come in here and stumble over every sentence, and stutter and stammer and collapse my way through a review about it. Oh, mate, this isn't good for the self-esteem, I can tell you that. At times, it's like a shotgun blast of dialogue, and you cop it right in the face, and you're just ringing from it. It is just amazing to watch these two go. Combine that with the classic accents and attitude and all the slang. It's a cacophony of stereotypes, all of them on point. And now we'll quickly talk about the sheer volume of alcohol that is portrayed in this movie. Oh wow, that is a lot of gin and tonic and martinis and anything else Nick and Nora can get their hands on. Between the two of them, they're probably drinking off the Killer Man, a big one, from Scotland. In fact, my favourite scene in the movie is where Nick is kind of tipsy and he's in a bar and Nora's joined him and sits down and she goes, "How many drinks have you had, dear?" And his response is, 6. To which she turns to the waiter and says, "Well, I'll need another 5 and you can just line them all up right here." It was just good. Look, the rest of the dialogue, the rest of the characters, yeah, they're good too. They're not great. And even if they were good, they're nothing compared to these two, so they almost don't matter. This is the Nick and Nora show. No matter about the rest of the movie, you're here for them, and they deliver. Script and dialogue gets a 4. I'm even thinking maybe a 4.25. The rest of the cast, they kind of drop it down. They really aren't as good. But at the same time, I've been thinking about this movie constantly. This is memorable. That's in my head. Yeah, you know what? Script and dialogue gets a 4.25. This stuff is just good value. Fun factor. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun here. This was a good time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm going to watch it again and probably going to watch it again. I want to make sure I get every little detail out of this movie. Sure, I'm going to find things that bug me. I always do. But this is just a very good time. A very good time indeed. Imagine my excitement when I found out there's 5 more. Don't worry, I won't subject you to 5 movies of me being a fanboy. It's okay. Fun factor, value plus, look, an easy 3.5. No dramas at all here. Final score, add them all up, 17.5. I had a very good time with this movie. It was fun, it was fast, it was entertaining, sassy, sarcastic, smooth. Very well done. Enjoyable characters, enjoyable script, enjoyable story. Yeah, sure, it's 1930s and the production value, to be honest, is down here somewhere, but the end result, top shelf. Not that there's much left of the top shelf if Nick and Nora's been around. There's another example of a good film being a good film. Doesn't matter when it was made. Good is good. So that's my review of The Thin Man. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please comment down below if you have seen this movie before, or if you intend to see this movie before, or if you intend to see this movie soon. And when you do, please let me know what you think. As usual, here's my request for you to like this review, share it around, go to the Facebook page, do things on there as well. But regardless of all that, I hope you have a great week and that you can make some time to go watch a movie. My recommendation.